Night has a way of telling the truth. When the room softens, when the phone's blue glow finally dims, you can hear it, the steady tap of your own heart reminding you that time is moving, whether you move with it or not. Perhaps you've kept pace with deadlines and yet feel behind in your soul. Or perhaps you've been sprinting for years and still sense the same invisible wall. There is a particular ache that comes when the life you are living and the life you long for keep missing each other by inches. It is not laziness, it is not weakness, it is the friction between what is safe and what is true. If that is where you are tonight, somewhere between fatigue and hunger, between the comfort you know and the change you secretly crave, then hear this clearly. I see you. I understand the weight you carry, and there is nothing broken about you that wisdom cannot realign. You have tried willpower the way a locked jaw tries to bite through steel. You have chased motivation like weather, bright one day, gray the next, waiting for the perfect alignment of mood, time, and a wave of energy that never lasts long enough. You've read lists, bought planners, promised yourself that next Monday will be different, and still the old gravity returns because gravity always returns. Under the noise of tasks and expectations lives a quieter math. Your days are adding up to something, and the sum does not feel like you. That realization can sting, but it is a holy sting, the kind that wakes rather than shames, the kind that invites you to step out of the loop where the same week repeats with new dates. There is an older voice that knows this terrain, a voice that does not flatter and yet never crushes. Ancient wisdom says that life is a house, and character is its architecture. Every choice is a stone. Every habit is mortar. Every season brings wind and weather to test what you've built. Wisdom is not a loud guest. It knocks and waits. And when welcomed, it does not rearrange the furniture of your life, it repairs the foundation. This voice speaks of diligence that outlasts moods, of understanding that guards you like a gate, of counsel that turns scattered moments into structure. It is the voice of Solomon's school, practical, grounded, unromantic about human nature, and yet stubbornly hopeful about what disciplined love can create over time. Your brain is not your enemy. It is an ancient instrument dedicated to keeping you alive with the least possible risk. It loves the familiar because familiarity burns fewer calories, and it prefers grooves to cliffs because grooves feel safe. When you avoid hard conversations, when you default to the soft chair instead of the cold morning air, when you reach for the easier pleasure and postpone the deeper one, your nervous system is simply doing its job. Reduce danger, conserve energy, repeat what worked yesterday. But the same circuitry that conserves also can be trained to create. The same pathways that protect can be repaved to serve your purpose. Emotional neuroscience reminds us that feelings arrive as messengers, not monarchs. They carry data about our state, but they are not qualified to govern our destiny. Safety matters, yes, trauma-aware, body-wise safety, but holiness demands more than safety. It asks for integration, where what you value and what you do finally become the same thing. So let us agree on a posture before a single truth is named. This is not an indictment. This is an invitation, not a courtroom, a classroom, not a spotlight that humiliates, a lantern that guides. The medicine here is strong because your life is precious. The scalpel cuts precisely because rot must be cleared for healing to take root. We will not rush. We will not shout. We will not confuse urgency with panic. We will move like a craftsman in a quiet workshop, measuring twice, cutting once, sanding edges until the join is clean. If tears come, they are welcome. If resistance shows up, it will be heard. If fear trembles, it will be held. Compassion is the climate. Clarity is the compass, and your consent is the door we honor at every step. There are truths that hurt because they accuse, and there are truths that hurt because they restore. The ones you will meet here belong to the second kind, firm truths, faithful truths, truths that refuse to lie to you about the cost of your comfort or the power of your agency. They will name the gap between intention and habit without calling you a fraud, and they will ask for your hands, not just your hopes. You may feel the old reflex to defend or delay, the mind whispering that tomorrow is better, or that your circumstances are special, or that the timing is not quite right. Those whispers have protected you before. thank them, and then kindly let them sit while you decide, like a builder who has counted the cost and is ready to raise a wall. Imagine a table in front of you, a chisel, a level, a plumb line, a set of plans. This is a working table, not a stage. The chisel is focus, the level is integrity, the plumb line is truth, the plan is wisdom. When you grip the chisel, you accept that real change will be granular and daily. When you hold the level against your choices, you accept that a slant will look straight if you stare at it long enough. When you trust the plumb line, you stop arguing with gravity and learn to work with it. When you follow the plan, you build with patience rather than panic. Solomon would say, "Measure your life by what endures, not by what excites, and you will find that the slow path is not the weak path, but the royal road where peace walks beside strength." Before the first brick is laid, breathe. Feel the air enter and leave like a tide that does not ask permission. Place one hand over your chest and notice the engine you did not start and cannot stop, the faithful rhythm that has carried you through every season. Count the beats for a few breaths and let the body tell the truth your mouth has avoided. You are here, you are alive, and time is not your enemy. Wasted time is your enemy. Let the face of one person you love rise to mind, and then the face of the person you are becoming. Let their eyes meet and make you honest. What is the cost of staying the same for one more year? What is the price of stepping forward for one honest week? Feel the weight of those questions in the chest, not as blame, but as ballast that steadies the ship before it leaves the harbor. This journey honors both spirit and science, both prayer and practice. You will hear the cadence of ancient proverbs echoing through very modern rooms. The office, the kitchen, the gym, the quiet car ride after a hard day, because sacred wisdom was never meant to live only on parchment. It belongs in budgets and calendars, in conversations and checklists, in the way you greet the morning and close the night. Expect language that is gentle and exact, sentences that breathe and build, phrases that return like a warm chorus, because repetition trains the heart the way repetition trains the hand. Expect reminders that you are more than your mood, more than your past, more than your title, and that every small act of alignment is a seed that cannot help but seek the light. And now, with compassion as our ground and clarity as our guide, we turn toward the first stones of a stronger life. Not with noise, not with vows we cannot keep, but with a steady yes that will be repeated in the cold of tomorrow's morning and the quiet of next week's evening. 7 brutal truths stand ahead, not as enemies at the gate, but as guardians of the road that leads you back to yourself. When you are ready, truly ready in the simple way that does not wait for perfect conditions, extend your hand to the work and let wisdom put a tool in it. There is a moment when the room is still and the body remembers what the mind has been avoiding, a quiet meeting between longing and responsibility, where the shape of your life begins to feel too small for the size of your spirit. In that silence, 2 sentences rise with the weight of a bell. No one is coming to save you. Your habits outrank your intentions. They do not accuse, and they do not mock. They stand like open doors that will not push you through, and they wait with the patience of old mountains while you feel the press of your own desire to become someone you can trust. Many have lived in the space between rescue and readiness, scanning the horizon for a sign or a helper or a surge of motivation that finally makes everything easy. The mind whispers a promise that sounds kind and logical. Once I feel ready, or once someone helps, I will start. It sounds reasonable, and it has protected you before, which is why it feels true. But readiness is a rain that falls after the soil has been turned and not before. And the turning begins with small movements that teach the body a new rhythm and give the mind new evidence to believe. The drift between plans is not failure. It is the ache of misalignment, and aches can be read like maps. Your nervous system values the familiar because the familiar conserves energy and lowers risk, so it will gently nudge you toward what you did yesterday and the day before that. This is not sabotage. This is biology, and it explains why promises made at midnight lose their color by morning. Yet the same circuitry that loops can also learn, and the brain that protects can be trained to serve your purpose when the patterns around it begin to change. Feelings will visit like weather, and each one carries data for your safety and your needs, but they are not instructions you must obey. You can feel the pull of comfort and still choose the path of growth. You can feel the fog of doubt and still walk toward what matters. In time, the body learns the new route, and the emotion that once blocked the way becomes a sign that you are close to the edge where growth lives. There is a quiet kind of strength that grows in those who decide to keep small promises for a stretch of days, not because a rule demanded it, but because they are learning the taste of trust. Dignity gathers when the promises are clear and measurable and under your direct control. Some people name a simple stack for a single month and keep it like a vow made to a dear friend. A few minutes daily for health, so the body remembers it is loved. A few minutes daily for a craft, so competence has a place to grow. A few minutes daily for one relationship, so love does not starve while work eats everything. They mark the days with ink instead of memory, because guessing flatters and records teach. They discover that consistency is not a mood, but a rhythm, and rhythm is a medicine that steadies hands and thoughts. Identity is the residue of repeated choices. The rare burst is exciting and often beautiful, but the soul takes its shape from what returns again and again. When your choices begin to align with your deepest values, the interior noise softens, and a clean kind of pride takes its place. Not the loud pride that demands applause, but the steady pride that knows a life is being built brick by brick. The mind begins to say a different sentence without fanfare. I am the kind of person who shows up. I'm the kind of person who tells the truth with my schedule. The heart answers with relief, because integrity always brings oxygen. Ancient wisdom speaks in the language of houses and seasons, not quick tricks. The wise builds his house. The walls do not rise in a single day, and they do not rise from wishes. They rise from steady labor and patient planning, and respect for forces larger than the self. Wind will come, storms will come. The mortar that holds when the season is harsh was mixed in quiet hours no one praised. This is not punishment. It is the dignity of craft and the realism of love. Diligence is not drama. It is devotion in motion, and it leaves a trace the weather cannot erase. Consider the feeling of a first morning when a small promise is kept before the world asks for anything. The air tastes cleaner. The mind stands a little taller. The day no longer decides who you are, because you have already said it with your hands and with your breath. On another day, a promise is kept when you are tired, and the voice that once waited for perfect conditions notices that the conditions do not get to decide. That moment is not loud, and there may be no witnesses, yet something foundational shifts. A line moves from hope to history. It becomes part of you. There is a tenderness in this work because it grows in imperfect rooms. Some days you will keep 2 promises and lose 1. Some weeks will be marked by illness or grief or tangled obligations, and the record will show gaps. The story is not over. In those gaps, a deeper lesson takes root. Compassion keeps the door open, and truth keeps the room clean. You return not as a soldier marching under threat, but as a builder who knows the plan and trusts the process. Perfection would have been a brittle house anyway. What you are after is strength with mercy. If you listen closely, you may hear a level being set against the wall of your routines. You may feel an inner plumb line seeking the center. The life you want is not a mystery hidden in distant hills. It is close, very close as a set of small appointments with yourself that you honor in quiet ways until they become part of your name. The pull of old comforts will visit, and you will treat that pull as information rather than command. The urge to wait for rescue will knock, and you will recognize it as a story that once kept you safe but no longer fits the person you are becoming. In this slow accumulation, a kind of wealth grows, the wealth of competence and peace. The house is rising. The plans did not change overnight, and the weather did not soften for your convenience. yet the wall is higher than it was. The tools on the table are familiar now, and your hands carry their memory, even on difficult days. No one is coming to save you, and somehow that sentence feels kinder than it did at first, because it has delivered you back to your own strength. Your habits outrank your intentions, and that is not a scold, but a promise. What you repeat is what you become, and what you become will shelter the people you love when the wind comes. There is a warmth that feels like love, and yet slowly empties your strength, a soft chair for the soul that asks for nothing and gives you less than nothing in return. It begins in small ways. A task that could sharpen you is delayed until later. A conversation that could clear the air is postponed until next week. A creative attempt that could embarrass you is wrapped in the blanket of another scroll, another snack, another harmless hour. It looks kind and it sounds like self-care, yet the bill arrives quietly. The edge dulls, the days smooth together. The spirit loses its appetite for the weight that growth requires, and the mind learns to call this drift peace when it is only relief. What the heart knows but hesitates to admit is simple. Comfort that refuses challenge begins to charge interest. Each easy decision costs a little attention, a little courage, a little self-respect, and the account balance does not lie. The body feels it first. A heaviness in the chest when the alarm whispers. A tension behind the eyes when the name of a difficult person appears. A flutter in the stomach when the blank page opens. The nervous system favors familiar patterns because they conserve energy and reduce risk, so it guides you back to what asks the least. That guidance is not evil, it is protective. It is, but the same brain that once kept you safe can be taught to keep you strong. And the path from safety to strength is paved by brief moments of chosen difficulty that signal to your body that you are not in danger, you are in training. The story told by ancient wisdom is not harsh, it is honest. Consider the ant, not as a command barked from a pulpit, but as a scene from a patient teacher. Small, ordinary, steady. Grain moved grain by grain without applause. Future famine prevented by present effort. No melodrama, no speech, only quiet provision that looks like unremarkable work. The parable lands not as accusation, but as permission to believe that what is repeated in humble seasons becomes shelter in severe ones. When winter presses its cold hand against the window, you realize something simple. Comfort that kept you from small hills has left you unready for large storms. There is a belief that slips in with good intentions. If it is not easy, it must not be right for me. The line sounds compassionate, and sometimes it is, because real limits deserve respect, and healing often needs gentleness. Yet when that line becomes a rule, it narrows your life until only what asks almost nothing can pass through. Growth requires friction, not as punishment, but as evidence that you are leaving the shape of yesterday. The muscle shakes before it strengthens. The voice trembles before it steadies. The first draft stumbles before it finds its cadence. Neuroscience gives language to this. New synapses fire, old pathways compete, prediction errors spark discomfort. As the brain recalibrates, what you feel is not failure, it is learning in motion. Comfort is not the enemy, numbness is. True rest restores the edge. Numbing erases it. One brings you back to yourself so you can meet the day with clarity. The other removes you from yourself so the day can pass without meaning. The difference is not always visible from the outside. It is felt in the morning after. Restoration leaves a trace of readiness. Numbing leaves a residue of regret. When this distinction becomes clear, the inner accountant wakes up. The numbers do not shout, they whisper. Ease that costs your aliveness is expensive. Difficulty that purchases depth is valuable. Some lives begin to change when the week itself changes flavor. Not through grand vows and not through perfection, but through a quiet rhythm of chosen frictions that carry the weight of intention into the body. A hard effort that awakens the bones and reminds the mind that work can be honest and good. A brave conversation that clears the fog around a relationship and opens space for truth to breathe. A single creative attempt that risks the sting of imperfection and returns with the dignity of a real try. These moments do not demand applause, and they do not require an audience. They train perception. The brain learns that discomfort can be safe and meaningful. The heart learns that courage can be simple and gentle. The body learns that energy rises when energy is spent on what matters. The season of comfort always promises to protect your peace, yet peace is not the same as quiet, and stillness is not the same as avoidance. Peace is alignment. Stillness is presence. Real peace can sit with challenge without breaking. Real stillness can hold tension without fleeing. When comfort is used to avoid growth, tension does not disappear. It relocates. It moves into the back of the mind where it builds pressure. It slips into sleep where it steals rest. It enters the voice where it produces a thin irritability that sounds like cynicism. The bill keeps coming until honesty pays it. Honesty admits that the softest path has become the most costly one. Solomon's way honors seasons. There is a time to gather strength and a time to spend it, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to warm the hands at the fire and a time to step into the wind. The rhythm is not cruel. It is humane. When you respect the season you are in, you stop demanding constant ease from a chapter that was meant to stretch you, and you stop demanding constant strain from a chapter that was meant to heal you. Discernment is the lamp here. It lights the small difference between nourishing comfort and numbing comfort, between steady challenge and punishing grind. The lamp reveals what the heart already sensed. Ease that expands your soul is a gift. Ease that shrinks your soul is a tax. There is a quiet confidence that returns when you discover that you can carry a little weight today and not collapse, that you can say a kind and difficult sentence and not be unloved, that you can ship a rough piece of work and not be undone by its roughness. Confidence in this sense is not swagger, it is memory. The body remembers 3 honest efforts and begins to expect a 4th. The mind remembers a conversation that ended in clarity and becomes less afraid of the next. The hands remember the feel of tools that once felt foreign and now belong to you. This is how an edge returns, not through a single dramatic act, but through many small refusals to let comfort decide the shape of your life. As this chapter closes, the language inside you may be different. Perhaps you can feel the bill that comfort has been handing you and the fine print you never read. Perhaps you notice a small hunger for the honest fatigue that follows meaningful effort. The good tired that tastes like progress. Perhaps the ant walks across your attention and you understand why an old proverb lifted that tiny creature into the light, not to shame, to remind. Quiet work in the right season becomes strength in the hard one. The comfort tax is real. It is paid in dullness, in delay, in the erosion of trust in yourself. But there is another ledger, one that grows richer when you exchange a little ease for a little growth. The numbers in that book tell a different story. Courage credited, clarity credited, competence credited. Over time, the balance compounds, and the life that once felt too small begins to make room for the person you are becoming. The warmth you choose, then, is the warmth of a fire that prepares you for the road, not the warmth of a bed that keeps you from it. There is a quiet law that lives beneath the noise of personality and preference, a pressure you cannot see yet feel every time you walk away from a room carrying words that are not yours and a mood that was not present before you arrived. The brutal truth is simple and disarming. You are the average of your circle. It is not a verdict on your worth. It is a map of your atmosphere. People are climates, and climates decide what can grow. Spend enough days under a gray sky, and the body craves sun without knowing why. Spend enough nights beside a warm fire, and even a tired heart remembers its heat. The soul is porous, and the nervous system is obedient, absorbing the tone of the nearest voices and the shape of the strongest examples until your choices begin to rhyme with theirs. Hidden beneath many loyalties is a pain that rarely says its name. You have given time and patience and second chances, and though your generosity is real, the return has been a slow dimming of your own flame. The hours after certain conversations feel heavier, the day after certain gatherings feels less clear, and yet you stay close because history is long and your kindness is deep. There is love here, and there is also a cost that accumulates quietly. Ancient wisdom does not ask you to erase people. It asks you to tell the truth about proximity. Respect is owed. Access is earned. The difference is mercy for everyone involved because it protects dignity without pretending that influence is neutral. The mind often carries a belief that sounds noble and binds like rope. Time invested means unlimited access. The line seems fair until you realize that yesterday's effort cannot purchase tomorrow's alignment, and that affection does not guarantee growth. When the heart is generous and the spirit is loyal, it can feel like betrayal to redraw a boundary. Yet the truest betrayal is to the person you are becoming when you let your future be negotiated by the past. There is nothing cruel about noticing that some voices invite courage while others pull you toward a smaller version of your life. There is nothing unloving about choosing distance where harm repeats while keeping honor in your tone and blessing in your heart. Neuroscience offers language for what the soul has always known. The brain predicts by pattern, and patterns are learned in company. Mirror systems echo the gestures and moods of those nearby. Norms press like gentle hands until they become the default setting of your days. What is admired in your circle becomes what you pursue without a speech, and what is mocked in your circle becomes what you avoid without a rule. When excellence is common, effort feels natural. When cynicism is common, hope feels naive. This is why your energy rises around certain people and thins around others, why your ideas expand in one room and shrink in another. Your biology is calibrating, and it is honest. A life takes on a finer edge when its relationships form a deliberate mix. Somewhere in the seasons of a year, the pattern becomes visible. A mentor who stands a few steps ahead points to the horizon and names the pitfalls with a kindness born of experience. A peer who runs beside you shares the weather and the pace and the laugh in the hard mile. A mentee who learns from your path reminds you of the value of what you already carry and keeps your gratitude awake. When these three are present, something stable and strong develops in the soul. Perspective stretches forward and backward and side to side. Pride is tempered by gratitude, and discouragement is softened by purpose. The language of wisdom loves metal and fire. Iron sharpens iron. It is not a sword fight. It is a meeting of edges in service of both. Sparks fly, and the room is briefly bright and warm, but the deeper work is unseen. Angles align, burrs are removed. A cleaner line appears where there was a drag. Honest feedback can feel like heat in the moment, yet it is the kindness that prevents dullness, and dullness is far more painful in the long run than the sting of a true word heard in a safe place. In such company, your best self is not flattered into existence. It is forged. A different kind of fatigue settles in when your closest circle confuses access with intimacy and proximity with trust. Endless availability becomes the measure of love, and your interior life becomes a commons where anyone may wander at any hour. The soul needs tenderness and space, and boundaries are the architecture that protects both. A boundary is not a wall that declares war. It is a door that declares ownership. You are permitted to decide who enters the quiet rooms of your attention and how long they stay. This is not a punishment for others. It is a promise to yourself. There is a tenderness required when relationships evolve, because memory has gravity, and grief visits even when change is right. The past brings photographs and the body remembers laughter, and these are holy reminders that goodness existed in its time. Honoring that goodness does not require you to mortgage your future to it. Love can bless from a distance when closeness harms. Loyalty can express itself through honesty when pretending would only postpone pain. When the season turns, Staying in summer clothes is not brave, it is unkind to the body that must face the wind. Discernment changes how you listen. The question beneath every conversation becomes clear. Does this voice widen my courage or tighten my fear? Does this presence honor my integrity or invite me to split into versions of myself to keep the peace? Do my values breathe freely in this room, or do they hold their breath until I leave? You can feel the answers long before you can explain them, because the body carries a wisdom that the mouth needs time to translate. In rooms where your soul is safe, your shoulders lower by themselves, and time seems to move with a kinder rhythm. In the slow rearrangement of your circle, a gentle arithmetic unfolds. One sharpening connection enters, and your eyes lift toward horizons that felt distant. One draining tie loosens, and your steps feel lighter without the strain of constant self-defense. The change is not loud. It shows up in a new idea that finds air, a brave sentence that finally lands, a quiet evening where your energy returns instead of disappearing. Over time, the average of your circle becomes a mirror you are glad to face. It reflects who you are and expands who you can be. The company you keep does not decide your destiny, yet it sculpts the paths that feel available and the strength you carry into them. Respect is owed, access is earned, iron sharpens iron. When these sentences live close to your daily choices, the atmosphere around you begins to nourish what is sturdy and good. Loyalty remains, but it is faithfulness now, not fear. Love remains, but it is wise now, not blind. And you, standing in the climate you have chosen with tenderness and truth, begin to recognize the sound of your own voice again, steady and clear, ready to speak from a life that rings true. Some nights the room is quiet enough to hear the tick behind the wall, and something inside you understands the message. Time is moving. It is moving whether you move with it or drift past it. The heart knows this before the mind will admit it. You feel it when a day ends, and the important work remains untouched. You feel it when the small, bright things that once filled you now feel like sugar, sweet, brief, empty. There is a sentence that lands with the clarity of cold water. Time is your scarcest capital. Distractions are debts. It does not shame you. It simply balances the book and shows the numbers you could not see while you were scrolling through a fog. Later is one of the kindest lies a mind can tell. It offers relief in the moment and a heavier burden tomorrow. There is no later. There are only priorities being traded. Every yes moves a coin. Every no moves a coin. The calendar is not a neutral grid. It is a living confession. It reveals what you are building and what you are postponing. Ancient wisdom speaks in seasons because seasons refuse to be rushed and refuse to be ignored. When you treat time like weather, you stop blaming the sky for being winter and start planning the work that winter allows. Some tasks belong to the morning when attention is clean. Some tasks belong to afternoon when the body needs motion. Some tasks belong to evening when conversation heals the strain of the day. Rhythm is mercy for the mind. The brain is a brilliant guardian that values efficiency and predictability. It loves to minimize effort, and it rewards novelty with bright sparks that feel like energy. That is why the short hit of a new notification can feel more urgent than a long arc of meaningful work. There is also a toll that no one charges at the gate, yet everyone pays. After a switch in focus, a residue remains. Part of the mind lingers with the last task, and the next task begins with less power. Many call this attention residue. You can feel it when a quick check becomes a quick detour, then a quiet regret that the deep task lost its momentum. None of this means the brain is broken. It means that attention must be treated like a flame and not like a floodlight. Flames need shelter from drafts, or they flicker until they fade. When people remember their strongest days, they rarely remember speed. They remember depth. The morning or afternoon or evening that felt like a clean corridor where thought could walk without being jostled. Deep work is not loud. and it is not dramatic. It is honest exertion on something that matters while the door is closed to other claims. The soul recognizes the difference between hours spent and value created. Markets recognize that difference as well. Effort is noble. Outcomes feed families. When time is budgeted toward depth, the day ends with a kind of quiet pride that needs no witness. There is a tenderness required when speaking of budgets because life brings seasons that are not chosen. New grief, new child, new job, new diagnosis. Wisdom does not punish reality. It respects it. Within that respect, many discover a distribution that keeps the whole person alive, a strong portion of the day or week invested in focused creation, a clear portion given to relationships so love does not live on leftovers, a steady portion given to recovery so the body and spirit can repair what effort spent. The exact proportions vary with the chapter. The principle remains steady. What you do not allocate will be taken by whatever shouts the loudest. The oldest books speak of a time for every purpose. That line is not poetry alone. It is strategy woven into the fabric of the world. When you work in the wrong season, you exhaust yourself twice. When you rest in the right season, you gather a power that carries you across the next hill. Renewal is not the same as escape. True rest prepares you to return with strength. Numbing steals the very strength it promises to protect. You can feel the difference in the morning after. Restoration leaves readiness. Numbing leaves regret. One gives you back to yourself. The other leaves you a little further away. There is a small scene that many have found healing. A craftsman in a quiet shop wipes the tools, places them where they belong, checks the plan for the next session, and turns off the light. The gesture is simple, and the effect is large. The mind receives a message that the day has ended and the night may be trusted. Without that closure, the mind stays half inside the workshop and half inside the bed. Sleep becomes a negotiation rather than a gift. When the day is ended on purpose, the night becomes a friend again. Some discover that language matters in the way they name time. Instead of saying, "I did not have time," they say, "I did not make time." The sentence is softer than it sounds because it removes the fog and restores agency. You cannot add hours to a day. You can assign meaning to the hours you have. When you listen to people who seem grounded, you will often hear a respect for beginnings and endings. The first minutes of a day are treated like a key. The last minutes of a day are treated like a lock. Keys open, locks protect. Together they keep a life from spilling into every corner. Distractions are easy to defend because many look harmless. Most are not immoral. Most are not even ugly. The cost is not obvious until the bill arrives in the currency of scattered days. The math is gentle and brutal at the same time. A dozen tiny diversions on a single morning do not feel like theft. A dozen tiny diversions repeated over a year become a pattern that can no longer carry the weight of your hopes. The debt is paid in diluted focus and delayed progress, and the quiet ache of knowing that your gifts are better than your calendar suggests. There is mercy in admitting that everyone is working with the same number of hours. This admission dissolves comparison and invites clarity. Your craft needs honest time if it is to mature. Your relationships need unhurried time if they are to deepen. Your body needs protected time if it is to repair. When these needs are met, even imperfectly, the world looks different. Colors return. The mind stops rushing past itself. The heart speaks in a voice that does not shout. Wisdom asks you to weigh minutes the way a careful merchant weighs gold, not with anxiety, with reverence. Some minutes are seeds. Plant them in soil that multiplies. Some minutes are smoke. Watch them rise and let them go. The art is in the arrangement. Give the best of your attention to the work that matters most while you are strongest. Give your presence to the people who matter most while you are with them. Give gentleness to your own limits so you can rise again tomorrow with strength that lasts. Time economics is not a theory reserved for scholars. It is the way a life becomes honest. It is the way the inside of your days begins to match the inside of your values. When you honor time as capital and treat distractions as debts, you do not become rigid, you become free. You move through the hours with a felt sense of stewardship rather than scarcity. To everything there is a season. To every season there is a way to live it well. And when the light fades and the door closes, you know where the day went and you know what it built. Some mornings begin with a fog that feels like truth when it is only weather. The body is heavy, the mind is grey. The old story returns. If I do not feel it, I cannot do it. The day shrinks before it begins. Then a smaller truth arrives with a steadier voice. Feelings are data, not directives. The message does not dismiss emotion, and it does not elevate numbness. It simply places feeling in its rightful place, a messenger, not a ruler. The heart speaks, the nerves report, the breath tightens or loosens, and the information is real. Yet the decision about who you are and what you will build belongs to something deeper than a passing cloud. The brain loves prediction. It tries to guess the next moment based on the last one, and it rewards the guess that lands with a small spark that feels like energy. When the expected ease is not present, the system flags a mismatch that feels like resistance. Many call this a prediction error. It is not a verdict on your capacity. It is the sensation of learning in progress. Mood rises and falls as chemistry does its honest work, and none of it means you are weak. It means you are alive. When effort begins before desire has caught up, another pattern emerges. Action grows a path and emotion learns to follow it. The spark comes later, quieter, truer. There is a difference between pushing through pain that harms and moving through discomfort that heals. Wisdom is tender with this difference. Trauma, aware, and body-wise. A nervous system that has known overload needs care. A spirit that has known defeat needs gentleness. Within that care, a simple pattern changes a life. Show up at the same small window often enough, and the window learns your name. The chair holds a memory of your presence. The hands remember the tool. The mind learns the corridor that leads to depth. Mastery begins to feel less like a fight and more like a friendship with repetition. Ancient wisdom speaks softly about the fruits of steady hands. Diligent hands bring wealth. The line lands without swagger because it is not about luck and not about noise. It is about the compounding of competence in the direction of service. The hours are not heroic. They are honest. The craft is not a performance. It is an offering. Wealth in this sense is larger than a number. It is the capacity to create outcomes that bless households and communities and futures. It is the peace of a person who can be trusted with a task because their word has become their way. A life bends towards strength when it keeps two quiet ledgers. One ledger records skill, reps completed, feedback received. Edges that were rough last month now smooth beneath the fingers. This is the ledger of becoming. The second ledger records value. Problem solved, people served, results that can be felt and counted in the lives of others. This is the ledger of contribution. When both ledgers grow, dignity grows with them. You know who you are becoming, and you know what your becoming is producing beyond yourself. Markets speak a plain language. Payments follow outcomes. Time alone does not persuade. Hard work alone does not guarantee. The world honors solutions that work and experiences that matter. This is not cruel. It is clarifying. When effort is poured into skill that the world needs, when that skill is shaped into results that improve someone's day, the exchange feels fair and clean. You gave something real. You received something real. The transaction respects both parties because value met value and both were lifted. Mood still visits. Some days arrive with a bright hum and some with a grey hush. The person who learns mastery does not pretend otherwise. They learn a different sentence. I'm allowed to feel anything and still keep faith with the work. The sentence is not a whip, it is a shelter for purpose. It makes room for sorrow and steadiness in the same house, and it refuses the old bargain where emotion must be perfect before effort can begin. Over time, the work itself becomes a source of feeling, not the wild surge that fades too quickly, but the low, warm current of a task done well and a gift delivered cleanly. There is a quiet joy that only people who practice can explain. The tool in the hand rests easier. The voice finds its natural pitch. The eye sees what it could not see before, and then corrects with less strain. This joy is not loud. It does not need approval. It is the inside smile of recognition. I can do this now. I earned this ease. The same joy visits when someone benefits from what you made. Their relief or delight or gratitude completes a circuit that no trophy can complete. Value given, value received. The craft and the community meet each other, and both are better. Some will say that discipline is cold, that it squeezes the color from life. In truth, discipline is the frame that holds the canvas while the color is applied. Without the frame, the image wrinkles and tears. With the frame, the colors can sing. Discipline protects the hours where meaning grows and protects the promises that make love practical. It keeps chaos from stealing the time you meant to give to your gift and to your people. It keeps mood from rewriting your identity every afternoon. Memory plays its part here. The body remembers the days you honored a promise when it was windy and gray, and the body trusts you a little more the next time the weather turns. The mind remembers the moment a client or a friend exhaled because your work lifted a weight from their day, and the mind becomes willing to walk through the small resistances to feel that rightness again. These memories become a kind of inner gravity that pulls you toward consistency with less drama and more peace. The old sentence about money returns with a clearer tone. You are paid for value, not time. This is not a threat. It is permission to stop measuring your life by hours spent and start measuring by outcomes created and lives improved. It allows you to rest without guilt when the work is truly finished, and to focus without apology when you are building something that matters. It invites you to invest your time where your competence can grow and your compassion can translate into results others can feel. Mastery is not a summit. It is a way of traveling. Mood rides along and sometimes tries to steer, yet the hands remain on the wheel and the direction remains true. Value becomes less about proving worth and more about expressing love through excellence. The day closes differently when this chapter takes root. You place the tool down with respect. You breathe with a clean kind of fatigue. Somewhere inside, a steady voice says what it has wanted to say for a long time. Today my feelings were welcomed. Today my purpose was honored. Today my work was worth what it cost. When the day quiets and the house returns to breath, there is a simple rhythm that gathers the scattered pieces of who you were and who you are becoming. It is small enough to fit on a page and spacious enough to hold a life. A lamp, a pen, a few honest lines. The page does not demand drama. It welcomes truth. The room feels kinder as soon as you sit within it because there is mercy in giving the day a place to land. The practice feels like a ledger that listens. Not a harsh audit and not a performance, a record that helps your memory tell a faithful story. Your nervous system softens when the past hour receives language, because what is named can settle. Your spirit steadies when the day reveals its shape, because meaning always reduces noise. This is how peace begins to return at the edges and move toward the center. There is a line that remembers a single brick laid, a habit kept in ordinary weather. The kind of act that would seem too small to matter if you did not know how walls rise. The body recognizes this line before the mind does, because repetition leaves footprints in the brain and the muscles. Tomorrow, those footprints will make the path easier to find. There is a line that honors the friction you faced. You stepped near something that once made you smaller and discovered that courage can be quiet. The discomfort told the truth about growth. It was not punishment. It was a signal that your life is stretching to hold more of what you value. The heart reads this line and remembers that strength increases when it is spent wisely. There is a line that names an edge, sharpened in company, a conversation that cleared the air, a question that invited you to bring your best. Iron met iron, and the spark was brief, but the change will last. You feel a cleaner cut in your thinking, a lighter motion in your decisions. Gratitude appears for the people who sharpen without wounding, and you see how atmosphere becomes architecture. There is a line that sets an hour in its place, time given form so that tomorrow does not blur. You can see the window where depth waits. You can feel the moment when rest will begin. The calendar stops being a wall that catches every stray obligation and becomes a key that opens and closes with care. Your mind loosens its grip on the day because an ending was offered and accepted. There is a line that records value created, not a tally of hours endured, but the simple truth of a result that touched another life. A message answered with tenderness, a task finished with skill, a small improvement that will save someone effort or sorrow. The world is a little lighter because you were faithful. This line feeds something deeper than pride. It feeds purpose. As the page fills, a quiet pattern appears. Agency returns without fanfare. Compassion for your limits sits beside respect for your effort. The day looks less like a blur and more like a crafted thing, imperfect and beautiful, bearing the marks of real use. You feel a steadier confidence, not the loud surge that fades, but the calm of a person who knows what their hands have done. The mind learns from this nightly song. Neural pathways strengthen where honesty repeats. Anxiety loses ground when the next step is visible. The soul hears the old wisdom again in a modern room. Diligence becomes a shelter. Seasons regain their rhythm. Rest tastes like restoration instead of escape. Your body understands that it can trust you to close the day with care. On some evenings, the lines will be short and sparse. On others, they will stretch across the page. Both are true. Both are enough. Over weeks, the ledger begins to tell a story that matches your heart. A life built with steady bricks. A courage warmed by chosen frictions. A circle that sharpens. A time that serves meaning, a craft that delivers value. The lamp goes dark. The room returns to quiet. The day has a home now, and tomorrow has a map. What grows from this is not urgency. It is peace with direction. You wake not to a flood, but to a river with banks, moving toward a place that matters. Night holds the room like a steady hand, and the day's dust settles on the windowsill. And in the quiet, it becomes clear that nothing said here was a threat to your softness or a dismissal of your ache. It was a remembering that houses rise one brick at a time, and that even the smallest stone can change the weight of a wall. A remembering that warmth without purpose turns into a tax, that company becomes climate, that minutes behave like coins, that mood is a wave and purpose is the shore, and that value is the language love speaks when it becomes useful. Across these hours, an older voice has walked beside you without hurry. It knows that seasons turn, that winds arrive, that the best roofs are built on ordinary mornings, that diligence is not a headline but a shelter. It is the voice that pointed toward the ant and toward iron and toward time. Not as scolds, as guides. It is the voice that trusts human hands to learn the rhythm of faithful work, and trusts human hearts to grow wider when truth is told with tenderness. You may feel the texture of your days differently now, the grain of them, the way choices slide a little easier into their grooves when the plan in your chest stops arguing with the sky. You may notice that certain comforts have a price that was hidden until the bill arrived, and that certain frictions return what they cost with interest. You may glimpse how proximity shapes possibility, how a single hour protected from noise can change the color of a week, how the steady practice of a craft becomes both offering and income, both service and song. There is a particular peace that follows honest naming. The mind stands a little taller when fog is called fog and not fate. The body loosens when boundaries become doors and not walls. The spirit brightens when work and worth stop living in separate rooms. None of this erases sorrow or complexity. It gives them a place to sit while wisdom sets the table and serves a meal strong enough for the road. Look around the interior landscape of your life, the way a caretaker surveys a garden at dusk. Some beds are ready for rest. Some rows ask for tending. Some vines need a new trellis so they can reach for light without tearing themselves away from the earth that feeds them. Nothing here is wasted. Even the weeds told a story about the last season, and even the bare branch is a promise when the calendar knows what month it is. If you listen carefully, you can hear tomorrow approaching with a soft tread. It is not demanding brilliance. It is bringing another chance to practice alignment until alignment begins to feel like home. The 7 truths will not stand at the gate like guards with stern faces. They will sit like elders by the door, steady and kind, reminding you of who you are and what you are building, reminding you that love without structure exhausts itself, and structure without love forgets why it began. When the light finally dims and the room returns to breath, a simple question remains, bright as a coal under ash. Which truth will you honor before the next dusk?